Well, hello once again, AB students. It's time to take a look at how to score the 2014 free response questions 1 through 3. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that and see if we can get down the scoring here for these. So remember, you should be watching this after you've finished answering questions 1 through 3 and then using this to score them correctly, and then go ahead and take a picture of your scored work and submit it. So let's go ahead, let's take a look. Question number 1 is kind of famous. It's known as the famous grass clippings question. So we've got some decomposing grass clippings, and we have a formula that models the amount of grass clippings. So first off, we want the average rate of change. Now don't get confused between average rate of change and average value. They're very different. Average rate of change is where we go ahead and we find basically the slope of the line joining the two endpoints. So what you need to do here to get this point, there's quite a bit actually you have to do, believe it or not. You do have to have the correct ratio set up here. We need to see a ratio. The ending amount minus the beginning amount divided by the 30. Okay, if we don't see a ratio, a fraction set up there, you don't get that point. Now this is what the answer should be, and you must have the correct units in pounds per day. All of those must be present to get the point. Okay, ratio set up, answer, pounds per day. All right, now for part B. For part B, it's worth 2 points. First off, you have to find the derivative at the time 15, so that's something where you can just simply go ahead with your calculator, and you need to see some expression there, not just the answer, but that you're taking the derivative at a time of 15 and getting the negative 0.164. This negative 0.164 gets you the 1 point. For the second point, the interpretation, you have to use English correctly. So you have to say that the amount of grass clippings is decreasing at a rate of 0.164, and you must say pounds per day, and you must designate at the time 15 days. All of those must be present. So it's the amount that is decreasing. It's not like the rate that it's decreasing. You have to be careful if you say the rate the grass clippings are decreasing, that's wrong. The rate is not decreasing. It's the amount that is decreasing. So be careful on that. You have to get all that there correctly to get that interpretation point. Okay, part C. Part C is worth 2 points. So first, you get 1 point if you have this correct integral expression. You have to have the 1 over 30, you have to have the correct limits, 0 and 30, and you have to have the correct amount equation. Now you can write it as the a of t, or you can simply write it as what the function is. And then you have to know how to enter it correctly in your calculator to get the correct answer of 12.415. Or you can get 12.414 if you truncate. That gets you your second point. Now, part D is worth a lot of points. It's worth 4 points, a lot for an individual section. First, you get 2 points if you have the correct expression for L of t, which means you must start with essentially what this is this is a tangent line equation, a linearization here. So it's your L of t is equal to the amount at 30, that's the amount you start with, plus your derivative at 30, that's your rate there, times your t minus 30. So you have to have that equation, that expression. That gets you 2 points. If it's not solved for L of t, but it's still correct, like let's say you have L of t minus this amount at 30, you can actually have what the amount is worked out, equals this. That gets you one of the two. Okay, then you get 1 point if you set that equation, or you set this equal to 0.5. So if you substitute 0.5 in for L of t, then you get that, then you get another point. And then if you can actually evaluate that correctly for the correct t value of 35.054, you get your final point. Okay, score that out of 9, and let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we have an area volume type of question. So first for A, we want to find the volume when that solid is rotated around the horizontal line, y equal -2. That would be the horizontal line down here, y equal to -2. So first off, if you have the correct integrand, the integrand gets you this part in the brackets. So if you have the correct part in the brackets, you get 2 points. So first off, what we see here is when we rotate that region, we create a washer essentially. So here's our outer radius, which is the 6. So if you just put in 6 squared, that's okay, minus. And our inner radius is this f of x plus 2. Now you could put minus -2, that would also work, but it has to be that. And then this has to be squared, and this has to be squared. So that integrand gets you 2 points. If you only have one part of this correct, you could get 1 of the points. Then you get a point for the correct limits. That's going from 0 to 2.3. That gets you another point. And then if you actually evaluate correctly, which means you have to remember to multiply by pi and know how to enter it in your calculator correctly and get this value, you get a 4th point. Okay, for B. So for B here, notice, you get 2 points for the correct integrand. The integrand, this 1/2 doesn't have to be in there. You could factor that out. But this is this 4 minus f of x squared. So it's the 4 minus the f of x, parentheses around that, and that is squared. You cannot do 4 squared minus f of x squared. You should know better than that. And then if you actually have the correct limits and know to multiply by 1/2 and can do that correctly and get that answer, you get the 3rd point. Okay, part C, worth 2 points. So if you get the area of one region, that gets you a point. So if you either have this expression here or this expression here, it gets you 1 point. If you know to set them equal correctly, then you get the 2nd point. All right, let's score that out of 9. And let's move on to question 3. Question 3 is very similar to what we've had before. Notice we have a function. It's not actually f prime, it's actually f, but notice we define a second function, g, which is the integral of this, which means that we still have that same relationship where f is the derivative of g. So g prime becomes f of x. So we have to establish that relationship. So we want to find g of 3. So that's going to be the integral from -3 to 3 of this function here. We have to use areas. So setting that up here, we have to see the areas added together. We need to see some sort of setup, some work shown, and then we need to see the area is 6 plus 4 minus 1. And you can just leave it as 6 plus 4 minus 1, or you can put 9. For part B, so the answer are these regions here, -5 to -3 and 0 to 2. If you get both intervals there, you get 1 point correctly. The reasoning requires a number of things. First, it requires some statement establishing this relationship here. No statement here. We can be here or it can be here, but you got to have a statement saying that g prime is equal to f, somewhere in there. And then you also have to state that you are looking for where f is both positive, because that means that g would be increasing, and you're looking for where f is decreasing, because that would mean that g is concave down. So the reasoning point requires quite a bit, the answer a little bit less, just getting the intervals. Okay, part C. Part C, you get 2 points if you get the correct derivative of h, which requires quotient rule in action and gets us to this point here. Either this or this would get us those 2 points. And then if you can plug in the values correctly and get to, this gets us our full credit. This does not. You actually have to evaluate, plug in and find what g prime of 3 is and what g of 3 is. So, but this gets us full credit, provided that if we reduce it, we simplify it down correctly. All right, and then part D is also worth 3 points. So first we get 2 points if we do correct chain rule here to get p prime, which is going to be f prime of this x squared minus x times 2x minus 1. If we see that there, we get 2 points right there for chain rule. If we forgot this 2x minus 1, that would get us 1 point if we forgot to take the derivative of the inside. But 2 points there for the correct chain rule in action. And then if we do evaluate correctly, put the answers in, we'll get 6. That gets us our answer point. Okay, score that out of 9 and score the whole thing out of 27. And then go ahead and turn it on in. All right, so hope things are going well. We will have a Zoom session tomorrow if you have any questions. And until tomorrow's video, goodbye for now.